Welcome to Gorilla Cues around the globe. A few weeks ago I posted on the website changonbbq.com, changonbbq.com, about making pulled pork, and in there were some short videos of me pulling out the bone and it just sliding right out, or breaking the meat up. I'm literally just squeezing it with my fingers and it just falls apart. The butteriest butt you can imagine, absolutely gorgeous. Well, several people said, okay, how do you do that? Today I'm going to show you how. Let's get on with it. Before we start, I did want to spend a few seconds just talking about the cut of meat. We've got viewers all over the globe. It's important to know that what actually a pork butt is, because it's got several names. It's sometimes called the butt, it's sometimes called a Boston butt, it's sometimes called a shoulder. Those all tend to be American terms. Knowing where the actual cut is enables you to order it. I was in England a few months ago, and when I went to try and order the same cut of meat to prepare it for the family, I was almost sold the wrong piece of meat. Importantly, if you imagine a pig on all fours, the shoulder is typically this upper part of the arm. Okay, it's a much less complicated piece of meat in terms of density of muscles, different types of muscles, and all the interconnective tissue that make pork so beautiful. The butt actually comes from the shoulder blade. So what you've got to imagine is this bone, when it's typically a bone in, is actually part of the shoulder blade of the pig. Now when the pig's on all fours, rooting around, it's got to lift a very heavy head, it's got a big powerful neck. This particular muscle has to do a lot of work, just like the brisket muscle, or the brisket on a cow. So, very complicated piece of meat, lots of muscles, lots of connective tissue, but you're really looking for the shoulder blade. It might be called the neck, but if you get the upper neck, you're obviously going to get vertebrae in it. So you're really looking for the lower neck and the meat around the shoulder blade. Once you got that, you're good to go. Alright, I'll move the camera, let's look at the meat. Okay, the pork butt. Very large, this is about 8 pounds. The bone enters here, this is say the shoulder blade, it sort of runs into the meat through this area. The notable muscle, this is the money muscle, it's sometimes called the tiger muscle. See the striations in it. That really does make some excellent cooking. And first thing I'm going to do is just separate that slightly down that fat line, just because I know in there is going to be a beautiful treat. Look at that. Okay, take a bit of that fat off. I don't do much trimming on the pork butt, simply because you want so much of this fat, because it's just fun to eat. It'll be delicious, but I will take a little bit off just because it is a bit fat in this point. Alright, I'll probably trim down this line here. The other thing is, while we all love big butts, this is a very large piece of meat, and the bit that we enjoy most, if we're honest about it, is usually the crust. So I find by slashing, making deep slashing into the meat, the rub can get on there just so long as they're all opened up when I put them on the fire, and we get a lot higher crust to interior meat ratio. So let's give this some deep slashes. I mean deep slashes. Plus, such a large piece of meat as this is nearly 8 pounds. It'll actually speed up the cooking time, because obviously the heat, hot air can get between these cuts and get to the center faster. Okay, across this top here. Okay, so now I've taken this very large piece of meat, and probably at no point is it deeper than about 1.5 inches. So it is going to be fabulous. The cat's coming to take a look. Get away. Okay, so there we are. Opened it up on the back. When I lay it out, I'm going to try and keep these slashes open and let the heat get between them. I'm going to season it, put it on the Gorilla Cue. Okay, pork is ready. Gorilla Cue is almost set up. Standard setup. Fat trapping tray on the indirect side. Gorilla Cue. Lots of unlit coals on the fuel side. I've turned the Gorilla Cue around so the long side is against the fuel, just to give me more room for the briquettes. I'm using a standard Kingsford briquette, nothing special. Just wanted to demonstrate this. The beautiful thing is, once the hinge grate is open, you've got absolute access to all your charcoal. Okay, I'm adding about 20 lit chunks right now, and gradually they use the minion method and fuse across. I'm also adding boiling water. Griller cube's got a nice white top. Very, very easy to get the water in there. You can see the steam coming off. Why hot water? Simply because the coals have not got to spend time boiling the water at this point. I've already boiled it for them, so the grill gets the temperature faster. My lower vent is set to about half open. Add the meat. Okay, I've clearly got a thicker end, I've clearly got a thinner end. I'm going to do it meat side up this first go. And I'm going to try and open up these deep slashes to make sure air circulates between them. Okay? And I'm also putting the thicker end towards the hot part of the fire, because that's obviously going to take more cooking. I'm going to do it hot side up for a while, turn it over later on. Okay. I'm adding 2 to 3 chunks of apple wood. Fruit woods just work better with pork. You can try mesquite or hardwood. I don't find it works too well. Not my personal favourite. But only needs 2 to 3 chunks. Lid on. And then upper vent open about the thickness of a pencil, so maybe about that much. Okay, we should be able to leave it alone now for several hours. See you in a while. Okay, it's been about 4 hours, just about on the nose. I'm going to check it now, see if it's a good time to turn over the meat. I suspect it is. We've been chugging away at a rock steady 250 degrees at the grate. It might have fluctuated 10 degrees around that over the last 4 hours. I've been down the shops, I've done other bits and pieces. I haven't had to be there and monitor it. I know it's just been right in there in the zone. So we're 4 hours in. We still got plenty of fuel. We still actually got quite a lot of water. I did give a top up when I last did the video. Alright, you can hopefully see that, and it looks pretty gorgeous right there. Okay, so we're on the meat. It looks great. As you can see, it's wonderfully juicy. Even the ring going. Look at that. All of that. Oh, marvellous. Alright, I'm going to attempt to turn it over without burning my hands off. Best to use cloths, but I'm going to move fast. Here we go. Yeah. Okay. It is that hot. Not recommending it. Okay, I'm going to let it go now. Let's see you in a few hours. No need for more water, no need for more fuel. I might put some fuel in an hour or so. It's really too easy, isn't it? Okay, we've been running for a solid 5 hours now. The meat temperature is about 160, so we're just getting into that stall stage, 165 at the moment. I'm looking to wrap it, so I'm going to take the lid off, have a quick check, see where we are. Okay, actually, you know what? I want more of a bark than that, so I'm going to top up the coals. I think the water's just doing just fine, and leave the wrapping for a few minutes. Okay, I thought you guys might well be interested in this. I'm going to just top up the coals right now. You can see with the hinge grate, you just fold it back and you've got perfect access to your coals there. I've just lifted the lid across so that it's maintaining a warm temperature over the meat. And look, you see how easy it is to add a good load of coals. Keep this thing going on the minion method. Absolutely no trouble at all. I might even chuck an extra lump of wood. One more, in it goes. The water looks fine, the meat looks good, so I'm just going to let it run. Okay, it's been another hour. Let's have a quick look. So we're just in about 6th hour. The meat is coming on terrifically. Ah, it still looks beautiful. Look at that. Alright, let's see if we can get a bit closer in for you. Okay, definitely picking up a bark. I was going to wrap it, but I think right now I'll let it run. Okay, last time we checked, I thought, you know what, that bark could do with a little bit more work, so I didn't wrap it at that point. I'm going to have a check right now. We're at about 185 internal. My goal is to get to 203, but let's have a look and see if that bark's developed. It's about 2 hours later, so we're about 8 hours in now. Whoa. Let's make sure you can see that clearly. Yes, you can see that clearly. The fat is there, bark is there, but look at how soft that is. And then on the meat, because this is all fat on the top here. It's just so soft. There's the bone There's the bone starting to come, and you can see it's already starting to fall away. But we still got a few more degrees to grow, so I'm not going to bother wrapping it now. Let's just let it run. Keep it easy. Okay, 10th hour. It's about 198 by the probe that I've got in there. I'm going to do a quick sort of couple of random checks just to see what it looks like. Okay, that's slipping in. I'd say that's, I mean, you haven't even really got to check the temperature at this point. It's just going so easily. Okay, just a little bit of resistance down there. Nothing there. Okay. That's going to be the coldest part of the meat, I think, which still feels the firmest. So it's about 193, 94. Honestly, I think this thing's ready to take off and just wrap. Gosh, that slid in easily. So here's the plan. Let's take it off, let it rest. I'm going to wrap it, let it rest. Oh, it's gorgeous looking. Whoa! And coming apart. Boy. I don't even pick it up by the bone, you can see it's already tearing off. Okay, I'm going to go and get something to lift this up, put it over there. Okay, here goes nothing. Weather gloves. Oh gosh. Stay together, stay together. Okay, did it. Alright, now for a bit of fun. I put a plancher on there to bake some bread. Okay, this was an 8-pound pork butt that I sliced up that I could cut those deep scores in. Here we go, let's try and wrap it and let it rest. I don't even know if it can stay together long enough to be wrapped. Here we are. One of the lines that I use is make the butteriest butts. That's a buttery butt. Okay, I wrapped it in what will pass for butcher's paper. Butcher's paper is essentially a low clay paper, so it's a coarse grained. And I'm just going to put it inside a cooler to leave it to rest. Half an hour or so, maybe an hour. Depends when people want to eat. See you in a moment when we shred it up. Wait for the meat to rest. I'm going to throw on some dough balls just to see if they can turn into good rolls to eat with the meat. Not sure I like the dough, but let's give them a go. A roll's got to get to about 200 degrees and it'll take about 20 minutes at the kind of temperature this oven's at. So let's see how this grills at. So let's go. Okay, it's been about 10-12 minutes. The bread should take about 20 minutes. Little trick, if you want a super crust on your bread rolls, you give them a quick spurt of water. Not much, a couple. Okay, final go, these bread rolls. Bit of an experiment, just see if they worked. They've got to be at 203 is what we're aiming for here. I'm just going to poke in just over 200 degrees. You can see the edge of the thermometer there, 195, 196. Yeah, these guys are done. They're going to have a little bit of carryover. Whoop, they should be good. They're quite dense, and I will say this is an experimental recipe that I've used. Okay, break it open. Oh, yep, good stuff, good bread, nice and dense. We're good in this. Okay, the end of a not so hard day smoking. Let's have a quick look. Giving it about half an hour rest. I'm pretty sure this is going to be just spectacular. Does that look okay to you guys? Alright. Okay. Yeah. Comes apart in the paper. Alright, so let's just test taking out the bone. Well, that's easy enough. Okay, let's just test breaking this up. I mean, it's just, I don't even need to tear at it. You can see it's just falling apart. Finish off that, pulling the bone out clean. You can see just falling out. Okay. Ooh, just one last little bit of a sugar being stuck there. Okay, so just to you know, now this just gets shredded. Basically, get forks, get bear claws. But with this is so soft. I can do it easily with the fingers, almost without even burning them. That is just tear, 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 tear. Oh, whoa, bit more. Whoa. It's that easy. It's just falling apart. So, pulled pork with a Gorilla Q. Couldn't be easier. Just to make a point about how soft and tender this is, I'm going to tear it apart with spoons. Look at that. Do you need bear claws? Or do you just need a pair of dessert spoons? I could almost stir this meat apart. Just. Oh. Tell you what I forgot to do. I forgot to show you that money muscle. But, okay, here's the important of those deep slashes we did right at the start. There's just a very high crust to meat ratio. But you can just see, it's fall apart. It's not even terrible. I'm just pushing it with a pair of spoons. Look, it's not pullable. It's smearable. Look, whoop. There we are. So, pulled pork with the Gorilla Q. That's mine. Easy as that. Sandwich is built. Time for a last few things. Some homemade Changon's candy. This is candied jalapenos. Whatever. The jar never lasts more than meal time anyway. A few of those just on top to stack this thing up. Then one of my favourite barbecue sauces of all time, Clint's Original, also made in San Antonio, Texas. And just that good. My happy looking sandwich. The pork, Clint's Original, just great stuff. Candied jalapenos, some green stuff to make it pretend it's healthy. The homemade rolls, oh, it's going to be good. After a day of very easy smoking, time to enjoy this sandwich. Can we even do it in one go? I can risk listen some lettuce. There we go. Look at that. Jalapenos, pulled pork, some green stuff, homemade bun, Clint's barbecue sauce. It's going to be good.